three of the most iconic characters on one sheet, one card, one artist, and it belongs to my guest today, Mr. Rohan Joseph. What's up, man?
How you doing?
Dude, we're diving right in. So, can you show me what card that is and what that's all about?
Yeah, the three card one is this piece right here. So obviously Gambit, Black Widow, Iceman. This is from 1992 Marvel Universe Series 3, art by Lee Weeks. Yeah, this is I will say of the sets that I collect, most of them were all done were multiple cards on one sheet. However, over the years, people have like sliced them up and sold them individually and whatnot. And so to find one intact, I think is pretty special. And I have another one I'll show here in a little bit. So super excited to get this. I have a little story on this one if you want me to share. So I first got a different Lee Weeks piece. I'll show you it right now. It's from Marvel Universe Series 2, so 1991. It's this Punisher hologram. So it's a hologram. So there's the Punisher, and then the background is on a separate piece behind it. I got that one because I used to collect Marvel cards, like modern Marvel cards, and I was in a couple of the groups. And when I was kind of transitioning over to art, I remember seeing a post from someone that made the holograms for these sets. And so I just kind of randomly reached out to him one day and I was like, hey, I remember your post. Do you have any of the art for sale? He had the Punisher one. And I was like, oh, dude, this is awesome. Like, I know, and it was for sale. But I was like, is this guy actually legit? And so I was like, well, I guess there's only one way to find out. So I just like looked up Lee Weeks on Facebook and I DM'd him, sent him pictures, and I did not expect him to reply. And literally within the hour, he replied and said, yeah, I did those cards. That's the work I did. Those are exactly it. I remember that. I was like, awesome. This was probably a month before Heroes Con last year. And while we were talking, I said, hey, you know, I'm really into this art. Do you have any more? And if you do, I'll be at Heroes Con. I know you're going to be there. And he's like, you know, hey, I'll take a look at what I have in my studio. And if I do, I'll bring it. And I was like, perfect. So Friday of Heroes Con, first day, the first thing I did essentially was go right to Lee Weeks' table, flip through his book, and he had it. And he's like, yeah, I looked and found that one.
Damn.
And it was just like, yeah, there you go. And it was like,
Speaking of the holograms.
Yeah. And I was like, I grabbed him. I was like, I just started talking to him about it. And then we made a deal. I was like, heck yeah, dude. So that right there, like the opening of Heroes Con, I was like, I don't need to buy anything else the rest of the weekend. I'm set.
That was the most viewed piece on your calf. I'm not sure if you knew it was going to be that way when you uploaded it, but it's the one card that I feel like everyone had in their shoebox back in 1992.
Yeah.
And can remember it and know it for what it is. And I think that kind of nostalgia is unbeatable. So now we know how you got your most popular piece. Now, then how long have you been collecting, and what's kind of like your first piece that you ever bought? Because obviously you didn't get there that quickly, right? You didn't get to Lee Weeks and figure out you go directly to the artist, right? So what was that first piece you ever bought, and what did you do to get it?
Yeah, so it was actually about just over a year ago. So it would have been May, I think it was last year. Maybe it was April. And it was actually so with this art, they have the pencil and ink piece that you just saw. And then they have like a separate piece that's like the watercolored piece by Paul Mounts did them all for this set. And so the first piece I ever got, it actually popped up on eBay. And it was from Series 1. It was the Sabretooth versus Wolverine color cell. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I grabbed it and I got it. And I was like, dude, this just hits differently than comics, which I'd been collecting the previous couple of years. And that's kind of how I dove in. Now, I have since sold that because I have definitely sold some to pick up other pieces. So in terms of kind of like the first piece that I still have that was like super kind of big for me would be this one here. So again, going back to Series 3, and it is this Origins of Silver Surfer card, which is also from Series 3. Silver Surfer is my favorite character, so to get this like pretty early on was like pretty awesome for me. Yeah, that set you got there. And yeah, just like you do, I got my binder of these cards right next to me at all times. I love this stuff. Like, it's what got me into Marvel as a kid. I still, more than anything, flip through my binder. To get Silver Surfer was just so huge for me.
In fact, Rohan, this is the first time I flipped through this, probably in 6 years, and then before that, maybe in 25 plus years.
Oh,
so,
yeah. I
thanks for
probably
helping me break this dusty folder out.
Yeah, I probably flip through mine once a week. Like,
oh my God.
It's just so, there's nothing more nostalgic to me than these sets. Like, I'll tell you, Carl, funny story. When we were kids, to afford the packs, we actually stole money out of my mom's purse to go to Brunson's Market and buy the packs. And
we've all been there, dude.
Yeah.
Terrible. I have done that as well. I mean,
I'll disclose my mom is now fully aware. We obviously came clean after the fact, but yeah, it was definitely something that we did.
Okay, so you talk about these cards being something that's nostalgic to you. Obviously, we all have our reasons, but let's say like for someone who has never collected original art before, because we all have a background in comics, we don't have to get into all that. But like, what is something that someone who hasn't collected original art can probably cannot understand why we do this? Like, what's something that is hard for someone to understand?
Prior to getting into art, I did collect comics, and I learned then too, it's like I wanted to be picky and choosing. I really didn't care about the volume. I cared about the quality. And so I only kind of worked my way to this collection where I kind of only picked up a couple books a year, but they were big books, right? And so I had like a great collection of comics, Fantastic Four #1, X-Men #1, awesome stuff. But then so many other people have Fantastic Four #1, X-Men #1. And when I got that first art piece that I mentioned, I remember just like looking at it and being like, no one else has this. No one else has this. No one else can get this. And that really just kind of took me down the rabbit hole of like, I can now build a collection that is A, super special to me, that I love, and B, literally no one else on the planet can have the same collection as me. So it's unique. And that was what was kind of it for me. Well,
I mean, I'm flipping through my book here, and I got all the way to Series 1, and I just came across one of your cards. Mr. Art Adams himself. I mean, it's crazy because we all knew Art Adams growing up, but man, like he rocked out on these cards, and I didn't even know that piece was so big. I mean, how did you find that thing, and like what made you decide to pull the trigger?
So funny enough, I actually just this week read an article on the creation of these sets. So they talked about in the article, so Bob Budiansky is the guy who was the special projects editor at Marvel, and he's the one that kind of was the head behind these sets. And he would just grab artists that would, in the bullpen and just be like, hey, can you draw this card? Can you draw that card? And it was something like they would pay a half-page rate for every card. And they obviously didn't need to be full page sizes, so most artists drew 3 or 4 cards to a board. So for 1 page of work, that would equate to 2 pages of pay because they'd get a half page for each card. For whatever reason, Art Adams just loved the idea of doing these cards. And the article says that because he got to just draw kind of like a unique kind of cover level image of all these characters that oftentimes he did get to draw in comics. And so he kind of went all out. And so like on his battle cards in Series 1, he only did 2. This is one of the 2 that he did of the battle cards. He did them full page. And then when Series 2 came out, he was the first person asked by Bob to draw some cards because Bob was like, Art Adams took this to a whole nother level. I'm going to ask him first. And he did like 30 cards in Series 2, more than any other artist. And I haven't seen any of his battle cards, the art, but I have his singles that he did. instead of 4 to a board, he did 2 to a board. So they're also larger than the ones he had. So anyways, going back, I found this on CAF from a collector. And, I personally can't stand the messaging that you do on CAF because it's kind of like you send a message and it's out there in the ether and you have no idea if they saw it, if they read it, if they're going to respond or not. So I found the owner on one of the Facebook art groups, and then I just Facebook messaged him. So then I could at least see if he looked at the message. If he ignored it, it's a no, possibly. And I just reached out and I was like, hey, I love this piece. I love these cards. Would you be open to moving it? And he was like, I'm open to it and we can talk about it. And so we ended up talking for about 3-4 days. And we just came to a deal. He actually asked for some references, and our mutual friend Dinesh was my reference for him, and done deal.
Wow. I mean, Art Adams, he has not slowed down. I think, has stayed consistent as a workhorse. I mean, at conventions, you see him working from the time he sits down to, the moment he gets up and the show's over. So I'm not surprised, but it's really interesting to hear about the process of how these were created, because it makes me wonder how, John Romita Jr., if he was also in the bullpen when they asked him to pull something like this off, because this is a little bit more than half a page, right?
Yeah. So, mine got cut up and kind of put together. So again, I found the art to this one. So this is series 1 now, just like that Art Adams piece was. So in the set, there are 12 Spider-Man presents. So they're basically Spider-Man interviewed. In this case, Doc Ock. There's like Dr. Doom. There's Wolverine. There's Hulk, Silver Surfer, Thor, Captain America, et cetera, et cetera. There's 12 total. John Romita Sr. did all 12. And this is the only one I've ever seen the original art for. And again, it was kind of another one I found on CAF. I reached out and he's like, I don't want to move it, but I considered if you would, and we ended up talking and made the deal. What was funny is he sent this to me via registered mail, I think it is. And so like with registered mail, it gets sent, it gets like locked in a locker at each like stop along the way. And it took over a month to get here because for some reason it like got all the way. So I live in Montana and it literally came from Florida. And so it was like Florida to Denver to somewhere. And then it was like Billings and then Missoula. Missoula is like 2 hours from me. And then for whatever reason at Missoula, they're like, oh, this doesn't have a specific stamp on it or something, or marking that or specific kind of sealant tape or something on it. So then they shipped it all the way back to Florida. So on the tracking, I'm just sitting there watching it go from Missoula back to Billings, back to Denver. And I'm like, what is going on? It got all the way back. Thankfully, the person I got it from stayed right on top of it. He was like at the post office to like re-receive it and then push it right back to me. But it ended up taking like 5 weeks to get. I remember sweating bullets the whole time. I was like, even him when he would write his letters, he's like, this is something that cannot be recreated. You must not lose this piece. Like, because we didn't know where it was and what was going on. But happy to obviously have it. And Romita Spidey, like, I don't know if I'll be able to get another Romita Spidey piece. So pretty stoked for this one.
Yeah, that's pretty scary. Thanks for sharing that story. And I think we've all had close calls. And when you think about all the different cards you've been collecting, has there been any stories from collectors you interacted with that stood out as far as when you reached out? Was there other folks that were also collecting cards like yourself? Because card art has only recently become a thing. And I felt like I wanted to talk to you because you're like just all in, bro. Like you're all in card art. And so have you met anyone else like you? Because I haven't. So I'm kind of curious if you come across anyone that shared a similar.
Yeah, there is one other guy that I actually reached out to him because I heard he had a ton. He's not as public, so I won't mention his name. But I reached out to him when I first got that Wolverine Sabretooth piece that I talked about, the color production cell. And, in our exchanges, he shared to me some of his stuff. He's the only other person I know that has, and go. I mean, he goes after a lot of other stuff as well. Whereas I specifically just collect Marvel Series 1, 2, and 3 from 1990, 91, 92. I'm also into the 92 Jim Lee X-Men set, but I don't have any art from that set yet. Hopefully one day. He does. He has a much broader reach, but he's probably got more of this stuff I collect than anyone else I know. But otherwise, it's funny. So I've never gotten a piece on auction. I've only gotten it from individual collectors. And when I talk to a lot of them, it's crazy to hear like when they got it. For example, this week even I found someone that said that they had the Thor card from Series 1, the color production sell for that. And I just reached out to him. I was like, hey, I saw you made that comment. Do you still have that? Are you willing to move it? And he replied back about a day later, and he was like, hey, I do have it. However, I'm not looking to move it. It's kind of a personal piece to me. I bought it from Tom Morgan himself, who was the artist of that card, at San Diego Comic-Con in 1992. And I was like, dang, that's crazy. That's super cool. It's awesome you have it. And it just makes me think, like, imagine how many of those pieces sold at like San Diego Comic-Con in those early 90s. And they were probably $30, $40. Probably people bought them for their kids and things like that. And then who knows, they got colored in, they got thrown out. Like I imagine some's buried in basements and closets. So it is funny that when you do find someone that still collects art and has one of them, like everyone I've gotten is from someone that's only had like one or two pieces of these things. No one has a lot of them, but they're all similar. Like they got them 10 years ago, 15 years ago. And there was like, yeah, I don't even actually look at that piece anymore. I just kind of got it because it was cheap, that kind of thing. And so they're always kind of like, yeah. Now I will say in the pursuit, like for every one I have and have been able to get, I probably get 15 to 20. No, I'm holding on to that piece. Because there are a lot of people that, I'm 43, which is, I was a 90s kid. So those card sets were like crucial to so many of us. So there's a lot of people that they are still super special to. So they have one, they're not going to let it go, or not anytime soon, or not at least right now.
I'm glad you said that, because I think in a way, hearing about your first few pieces almost made it sound like it's easy, but it's not, man. Like you really have time and really hunt. So what drives you to go and make these
the chase is super fun and addictive. Because like I said, you have to be persistent. I mean, as you know, I'm sure, like I find that just in the art world in general, 75% of the work is finding where it is. Because unlike comics, right, where there's always another copy, this is the only one. So you got to find the one person in the world that has that piece. And so it's this constant just like kind of networking and sending messages. And what's really cool is at least people in the art community are super friendly. So it's also a way that I've made a number of kind of hobby friends just by doing these. Because, I'll have someone that has told me no, but we just end up still talking and we become friends and we still talk regularly, which is great. Win-win still there for me. So yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's a lot of no. And the thing too is like, as you know, again, I'm sure if you are using CAF, so many messages you could send just don't get responded to. And since you have no way of knowing did they look at it? Did they not look at it? You just like, there are people that I've messaged 4 or 5 separate times. And I'd be like, hey, I know you didn't respond to me last time. Any chance you'd move it now? Any chance you move it now? And you just got to stay persistent. And like that hunt though, is so fun because when you do score, you're on top of the world.
The saddest part, sometimes I wonder if they're still alive, because like the last time they checked half was like 2012, and I'm like, oh man, I hope this guy's alive, please God.
Yeah. Now I will say, I typically am only persistent with the people that it shows, because CAF does show you when their last login is. So if it's within a month, if it's someone that's like hasn't logged in since 2017, I'm like, well, there's just no point here. So everyone I do message usually shows a last login within the last 30 days. However, there's still numbers of those that don't respond, whether that be they don't look at calf messenger or they are not interested in moving it and therefore they're not going to respond. I don't know. But you're just kind of like left out in the ether.
Can we dive into this next one?
Yeah, that's when we showed that one a little earlier. That was like the first piece that I had that.
Yeah, I really want to talk about this because in our chat group and a few other chat groups, the biggest buzz today was Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
Being the Galactus Silver Surfer. So for those of you who don't know, I'm a huge Magic the Gathering guy. If I could pan my camera around, you'll see all my original Magic art. Now, this card, I think, is amazing. It's probably one of the best depictions, I think, of Ron Lim and his works. So when you think about this and when you think about the evolution of card collecting and you see something like Magic the Gathering coming out with 2 cards, I don't know if you play at all, but if you read the mechanics, I think it's the coolest mechanics released in a very long time. How does that make you feel? Does it make you want to dive a little, dip your toe into the Magic the Gathering world?
It was cool. As I told you guys this afternoon, I joined that MTG art group because I was interested in taking a look at the art and seeing what the art was selling for. I would say no, though, because again, I am not someone that has kind of huge means or unlimited budgets or anything like that. So I've tried to stay, and have so far at least been successful, sticking to this specific niche, because otherwise if I kind of get spread out, I'll get spread too thin. And my worst nightmare would be I find a piece and I don't have the ability to grab it at that point. So I stay as focused as one can be in this hunt. I'm interested in the art for almost every card from these sets. Like there are definitely a few like the Slug or something like that. Like I don't need that piece, but for the most part, I am open. Like I'm fortunate that I have some major characters. I also have some smaller characters, and I love it all the same. And what's cool too, right? As you know, like as art goes up, a lot of these pieces also go up. And if it's Spider-Man, if it's Wolverine, it's likely to go up, right? But if I'm looking at Polaris, which I have as one of my most recent ones, like Polaris is not going to the trajectory is not nearly the same as Spider-Man or Wolverine. But when I got Polaris, which might as well show right here, this one's actually the only one I have that came framed. And it's cool. I mentioned earlier, these all have a color cell and a pencil and ink page. So this is one of the 3 that I have both the entire set of. I was just as excited to get Polaris as I was that Spider-Man Doc Ock piece. Like it all is just so super fun to me because every one of those cards is super nostalgic to me.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's actually, I admire the discipline. So my follow-up question is, how? I mean, many of us struggle with this disease. We will collect for a certain era and like, we're like, this is our thesis. This is what we're going to focus on. Then we kind of get distracted by squirrels. And I try to distract you a little bit with this whole Magic the Gathering thing. But what is it in your mindset of collecting that keeps you focused?
I just know, like, because I did the same thing with comics. So I think like the lesson I think a lot of people learn maybe when they're first getting the art. I learned when I first got into comics, where it was like I wanted to get, everything looked cool, like modern stuff and some of the old vintage stuff. And I found myself, I was just like spread out too thin. And then I kind of learned to kind of evolve and really kind of focus in on like, hey, what is something that I could achieve, not just get, but like I consider it like an achievement and be proud that I have it. And that I love and would love and cherish for a long time. And so I just use that same mindset with the original art. Like, again, would I love to bid on the Tales of Suspense 39 opening splash page that's coming up on Heritage? Hell yeah, I would love that. But I can't play in that ballpark. I know I can play in this ballpark. I absolutely love this ballpark. And that's the thing too, right? As much as that Iron Man splash would be, doesn't have the nostalgia that these pieces have to me. So would I be excited to get that? Oh, hell yeah. But I mean, I'm just as excited to get this stuff because it's super special and meaningful to me.
I love it. In fact, Silvestri is one of my favorites. And this was also one of the highlighted one in your gallery. So, I feel like Series 3 has always been a little underrated. Do you feel that way, or do you kind of love them all the same?
So so I have this Sylvester. So again, another one. So I have 3 total where I have both the pencils and the colors, which is super fun to get when you get them both. So this Sylvester piece. So in terms of my love, so for the most part, I love all 3 sets kind of near equal. I would say if I had to rank them, I would put Series 2 first because that's the first set we collected. So we collected it after it was all out. We got it all. Then we back collected Series 1 as kids. And then we actively opened Series 3 as it was coming out. So all 3 sets are super meaningful to me. But yeah, there's Series 2.
Right?
And what I love about Series 2 and Series 3, and Series 2 is my favorite, is the back of those cards is the power ratings. And I love the bar chart in Series 2, whereas Series 3 has the lasers. The lasers.
Yes.
Series 2 has the bar chart, which I love.
Series 3 has the lasers. Oh, yeah, lasers. Okay.
Yep. And then Series 2 has the bar chart.
How about 1? Did you?
Series 1 has all kinds of cool stats. Where it's like total battles fought, battles won, battles lost. Funny story, again, with Bob Budiansky. He has admitted since that all of that data on Series 1 is complete fabrication. They're like, no one's ever going to count that the Silver Surfer fought in 16,246 battles or whatever the number is. So let's just make up number. And they made up the entire thing for every card in Series 1. I don't know whose idea it was to do the power ratings in Series 2 and Series 3 and beyond, but that was just a home run for me. And I'll tell you like a quick story about why Silver Surfer became my favorite. Is because I have a distinct memory in 4th grade walking to school. We used to walk a block to school. And as I got to school, my buddy Jeremy came off the bus and he showed me this new card he got. And it was the Series 2 Silver Surfer. I was like, who is this? And I flipped it over. And if you look at the power ratings of Silver Surfer, I mean, they're just like off the charts. I was like, whoa. I was just like blown away as a 4th grader. And he's been my favorite character ever since. So, yeah.
I remember those moments too, because I remember collecting my friends and sharing at the library. And there wasn't many of us. There was maybe like 2 other folks that collected. We were like definitely the nerds. But I remember turning around the cards and being, whoa, like just comparing who's cool and whatnot.
Yeah, and then we get into like these discussions like, oh, who would win in a fight? Silver Surfer versus the Hulk. And you would like look at their cards and compare their powers. And yeah, it was awesome. And I had a particular fondness to, if you look at the ratings on there, one of them is speed. And I loved all the characters that had full speed, which meant that they could travel at the speed of light. And it typically was relegated to the cosmic characters. So I was a big cosmic character guy. So I love all the cosmic beings.
Yeah, man. I am speculating, but I feel like Marvel superhero set is coming out now, but X-Men and Cosmic has to happen because that's going to draw in such a big audience. I mean, you spoke about this earlier. Tell me about this set. And when you say we, is it a sibling that you had? Partner?
No, so as a kid, collected these. So there was a group of us friends that did it, but my collection at the time, me and my brother kind of shared. So he's a year and a half older than me, and we collected them together. So there wasn't a pack that I opened as a kid of these sets that he wasn't opening them with me. That set that you just opened up is the 1990. So after Series 3 came out, that same year, they commissioned Jim Lee to do an entire X-Men related set. It was only 100 cards, but that set, like, if you look at a lot of those cards, it is like the best representation of that character, like ever. Like such high quality art. My goal is to eventually be able to get some of the art from that. You can see the art for that on CAF. This
is the grail. The grail.
That's the grail of the set. It's on CAF, and I drool over it all the time.
And I love the checklist.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you did this too, but I would cut out all the kind of power, energy projection, intelligence, and also put it into like the packs as the little details. I would cut it and put it into my set as well. So it's crazy, man. I used to spend a lot of time on this stuff.
Yeah, it's great.
Multiple danger rooms.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's see what else I got over here. So give us a little tour. I don't remember. Oh, how about this? Did you get into Excalibur?
Let's see, which one is that? So that's a different set.
Yeah, what is it? This is a totally trading cards, okay?
Yeah, so it's interesting. So in the 80s and even before, Marvel had done card sets. However, all of that art from like that set, for example, is all reused comic art.
That's what it looks like, yeah.
So 1990 Series 1, when they did that set, the thing they wanted to do is like, hey, we want to make a card set, but of all original art. And so 1990 was the first Marvel card set that they ever did that for.
That's funny. And it's funny, like, my fingers are just like black, by the way, because I haven't opened these for like ages. They're like, but what's really interesting, and this is like an ultimate reveal, is I have the Star Wars in the same folder as my Excalibur, not knowing ever that these two would unite under the Disney umbrella.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. But I do have, I do have, since you mentioned Excalibur, the other sheet I said that has multiple cards on it is this one.
Oh my goodness.
This is probably the crown jewel, I would say, of the collection. So it's Series 2, obviously, so Excalibur being the Shadowcat card, but you can see it's also got Magneto. And then these two cards are the weapons cards that they did in the set. So Captain America's Shield and Thanos Infinity Gauntlet.
Holy crap.
This Thanos Infinity Gauntlet card, in my opinion, is like a top 10 card of all of the sets. Like, I absolutely love it. And what's really cool for me about this one is Infinity Gauntlet was my favorite story ever. Again, I'm into the cosmic stuff, so I was very into the Infinity Gauntlet storylines, which came out in 1992. This card set, or 1991, excuse me. This card set Series 2 is 1991. Again, art from those books is pretty valuable. So this is a nice way for me to have a piece of kind of the Infinity Gauntlet story, and it's by Ron Lim, who drew a number of the Infinity Gauntlet books.
I mean, speaking of Infinity Gauntlet, did you see the Mind Stone that was preview on the Marvel superheroes?
Yeah. I don't. So is it only one stone per set that they're putting in?
No, they're not. For Lord of the Rings, they did, I think, 300 of the rings, the different rings. So like the Elven rings was like a certain number, the Dwarven rings, the human rings. So it's like 300, 500, 700. But then the one ring, they have 1 of 100, which is a specialized number, but they have a 1 of 1, I believe.
Yeah.
So it's pretty insane. So I think.
Yeah, and I remember there was a huge bounty. Like, wasn't it like Post Malone put like a $3 million bounty?
Couple million. Yeah, he bought it. The one.
Oh,
he got
okay, it was him that got it.
Yeah. And so they did not do that with the Infinity Stones. They actually have 3 art treatments. One is the traditional kind of MTG with the frame art treatment, traditional Magic the Gathering. Then they had a full art one, which is Thanos by Lino Yu, which I'll share here as well. And it shows first the Soul Stone, and then the Mind Stone is the most recent one. And then there's the one that's just the stone itself, which they call Cosmic Foil. And on the last set with Spider-Man, no one knew like how many copies they printed, because they could not do the serialized number, because the rights for serialization for Marvel belongs to Topps. So Magic the Gathering is a Hasbro company, Wizards of the Coast, so they couldn't get that. So they just put it out, and I think people were kind of like, is this rare? Is it? It's not? I don't know. But it still went for like $15,000, $30,000. But what happened was, when Marvel Superheroes came out, I think they knew that people were questioning. So on their launch video, they said, the Mind Stone, there was less than 150 copies of this. All of a sudden, all the Soul Stones went up in price. So I think I saw on eBay sell for like 15,000, like maybe like a month ago, and then all of them now are in the $40,000 to $60,000 range. So it's pretty insane. It's pretty insane. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Are you
no,
gonna
like,
go, are you gonna go after a Mind Stone card?
no, it's weird. Like similar as you, I think I had a ton of nostalgia for Infinity Gauntlet, but when I got into the hobby, I was just not ready for it all, and it was priced so out of the range of like my mental capacity that in my wallet that I was like, all right, I'm just gonna move on from that and focus in other areas. And it's funny because then by the time I kind of started um, looking at it again recently, I feel like the prices have settled because people have forgotten about Infinity Wars. The hype train is kind of gone and it's moved on. So I have looked at some pieces again, but I just want one representation of Infinity Gauntlet. And I don't know what that is yet, but that would be a dream to have something from that.
Would you want the card or would you want the art for the card?
For Magic the Gathering card, I think it's a little hard to justify for me personally because I know what it's going to cost. And if I was going to spend that kind of money, I would look for a vintage, either sequential piece or something that kind of brings me back to the story itself. Because I'm definitely more of a story collector. So if
Got
you
it.
look at a lot of my pieces that are high valued or not, like their splashes or their moments in time or the sequential of a half splash, because I kind of lean into the story. I love covers that tell a great story, but I prefer the story side of things.
Got it.
Yeah. Okay, so we're all in the same club when it comes to collecting, and we put a lot of our time and resources. I mean, resources also time is also a resource, but we put a lot of resources in this, time and money, right? Has anyone close to you ever made you feel like it's like a waste of time and money, and like a parent, a partner, a friend who like just doesn't get it? And then what's your reaction to that? And how do you try to explain it, or do you kind of just don't address it?
It's funny. Like I would say, none of my friends that I see in on a regular basis in three dimensions, we'll say, could care less. So honestly, I just don't even talk to them about it. Um, However, my wife sometimes like she doesn't care that I'm into it, but sometimes she's just like, you have all these people that I don't even know who you're talking to or whatnot because they're people I've made friends with online. So that and sometimes she gives you some grief about that, but otherwise, no. Because the people I see regularly aren't into it. I don't really have those conversations with those people, and so the people I talk about it with are people that are just like you and me and kind of get it and understand it and don't question it.
Yeah, I think it's similar. I think my wife don't quite get it, but she knows it makes me happy. She knows I'm passionate about it. So as long as it doesn't disrupt our way of living in any massive,
Exactly.
she allows me to do what I gotta do because we all gotta have our getaways, and I feel like there's something about the energy, even when we hang out here or even in person. There's like an energy that we bring to the table of our passion that is it's contagious. I feel like when people even see us talking about stuff, they're always kind of like, "Man, what are they so into?" And the truth is, a lot of this is driven by nostalgia and also things that keeps us going. It's this hunt, right? So, um, I also want to ask, like, what has collecting taught you about yourself that nothing else could have?
That's a good question. Let's see. It teaches you that you can definitely start something and be persistent and complete it, right? And again, that's what this art hunt is. And so it really kind of taught me about like my ability. If I'm into something, I will see it all the way through.
Wow. Okay. So then, as a follow up question, what does completion look like in your collection?
Oh, I don't know if there's a thing. I think that's a question a lot of collectors, whether it be comics or art, they always think about like, what is the end game? For me, it's more of a function of, am I having fun? And as long as that answer is yes, I will continue to pursue it. I firmly understand that I can't have it all. I won't have it all. And I also know too, right? Sometimes to get one piece that I may like a little bit better, I may have to move one of the pieces I have, and so that's all part of the formula to make it work. But I know as long as I'm having fun and enjoying it, I'm going to continue doing it. So yeah, it's crazy. Like, you know, I have a job, I have kids, I have a wife, I have, all these things going on. And the thing that I think about in my spare time more than anything is, where's the next piece coming from? Where am I going to look? Where am I going to find this piece? I'll even sometimes just like flip through my binder and just be like, oh, that'd be a good piece to find if I could find that one. And, oh, that'd be a good one to find if I could find that one. So it's the completion there is no completion. It's just, as long as I'm having fun, we're going to keep going.
All right. So I'm going to give you this question here and give you opportunity to make your hunt a little easier. If someone watching this happens to own a piece and wants to sell, what do you want them to do?
Reach out to me. As I said earlier, like, I am, with the exception of like literally probably less than 10 cards amongst all 3 sets, I am absolutely interested in at least discussing acquiring any card art piece from these sets. And so if you're someone that has one and you're open to moving it, by all means, reach out to me on Instagram. I'm a part of the Facebook art groups. You can reach me out that any way possible. And as I kind of told you before, like, I'm a firm believer, like, I post what I get, I talk about what I get, because I have gotten so much of the art that I've had come my way because people have reached out, or someone I know has been like, hey, I saw this one over here, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, in fact, as Rohan mentioned, as Rohan's full collection is on Comic Art Fans, I believe, and the link will be in the description below, and take a look at it. If you have a Marvel Universe series trading card and you're thinking about selling, hit up Rohan, because he wants it from you. And to me, as a kind of a collector's verdict, I would say Rohan is building the definitive Marvel Universe series trading card art collection, because this niche, I believe, is still under the radar for many people, and the art is really historically significant. And Rohan found it before kind of most people I knew really kind of paid attention to it, and I think that's what a good collector and good collecting looks like. So with that said, any other last words before we wrap up the show?
Yeah, can I show two more? I kind of consider.
Of course, let's do it. Oh, bonus material.
Yeah. So the third piece I have that has both the pencil inks and the colors is from Series 3, Dark Phoenix. Again, I mentioned earlier that Infinity Gauntlet was my favorite storyline as a kid. The Dark Phoenix saga was my second favorite storyline as a kid. So this is a cool piece to get from Series 3, art by Brett Blevins. And then I told you I got the color piece from Series 1 of Wolverine versus Sabretooth. I moved that so that I could acquire the pencil and inks of the Series 2 Wolverine versus Sabretooth battle card. This is art by Mark Bagley.
Dang, your breadth of coverage in the Marvel card collecting world is insane.
Yeah.
Congratulations, bro. It's freaking awesome. And
you're
contagious, man. Like I wanted you to be on this show because I just felt like you're so passionate and so focused. I aspire to be that. And I think for me, I have moments where I get really into it, but you've been so consistent this last year, and your collection continues to build and continue to share. I feel like it's like a great example of just collecting 101 in the best form.
Oh, I appreciate it, man. That's very nice of you to say. Thank you.
Awesome. So with that said, thanks for tuning in, folks. We'll see you guys at the next Comic Art Collecting with Carl.